Hello and thank you most kindly for joining us tonight on Daily Politics, your destination for everything about politics. I'm Hamza Idris. Let's capture some of today's interesting political developments. Former President Goodluck Jonathan has expressed worry over the deepening political crisis in Nigeria, pinning the blame on court rulings, which he described as turning the corn of justice upside down. Speaking at the 67th birthday celebration of renowned human rights lawyer and senior advocate of Nigeria, Professor Mike Okorie, the former president also warned judges not to be swayed by political antics. Jonathan noted that the recent court judgments in political matters have thrown the country into this alley, particularly referring to a ruling that empowered a ward chairman to expel a national chairman of a political party. And the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 general elections, Peter Obi, has faulted the foreign trips embarked upon by both President Bola Tinubu and his deputy Kashim Shettima. He said the trips come in when the country is grappling with domestic challenges were concerning. However, the presidency on Wednesday said the absence of Tinubu and Shettima does not force any vacuum in Nigeria's leadership. Well, some political stories there. Now let's unpack the talking points on today's politics. The National Security Advisor, NSA Malam Nuhu Ribadu, said a sizable number of illicit arms being used to commit crimes in the country belong to the government, stating that such were being transferred to the terrorists, bandits, and other non-state actors by security agents. This statement comes as the National Center for the Control of Small Arms and Light Weapons destroyed more than 2,400 small arms and light weapons. On Wednesday, the Nigeria Customs Service said that since 2018, it intercepted 20 significant shipments comprising 10,498 pieces of various arms and 114,929 pieces of ammunition, with an estimated duty paid value of 9.58 billion naira. In recent times, some Nigerian security operatives were arrested and prosecuted for their involvement in supplying arms and ammunition to terrorists. Last month, Zamfara State Police Command arrested and paraded an officer of the Nigeria Civil Defense Corps for allegedly supplying arms, ammunition, and drugs to bandits. This revelation of compromise by some security operatives is posing a threat to the lingering security crisis which the nation has been struggling to address for more than a decade. What are the consequences of the alleged compromise by security operatives who have taken the oath to defend Nigeria against any internal or external aggression? And to find answers to this and many more questions on the program, of course, here in the studio, we have Dr. Stephen Okorie, a doctoral holder in security and strategic studies. And we will also be joined virtually by Dr. Kabiru Adamu of Beacon Consults. And then viewers, you too can also join the conversation from wherever you may be watching this episode through telephone lines a little later on the program. But before we commence, let's hear what NSA Ribadu said on the illicit weapons.
Exercise is a major focus of the center and a decisive step in our concerted effort to address the challenge of arms proliferation. By destroying unserviceable, obsolete and recovered arms, we are demonstrating our commitment to a secure future for all Nigerians. All illicit arms, not only unserviceable, all illicit. Any weapon that is taken is out there that is through illegal process. We have laws that govern ownership of arms. If you do not follow it, it's an illegal arm and it's supposed to be destroyed completely. The federal government of Nigeria, under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, remains committed to providing the necessary support to the center towards ensuring the safety of every Nigerian.
That was the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, speaking on the illicit arms and other weapons in Nigeria. As I said, of course, in the studio, we have Dr. Stephen Okorie. Doctor, this is your area. We're happy to have you in the studio. You are a big catch indeed. But then before we go, maybe we should touch, our tidbits, of course. You had President Jonathan taking the blame to the court of the land, saying most of the troubles we have could be attributed to, the way and manner judges are turning cases, upside down. Do you agree with the former president?
Yes, I agree with the former president when he has to turn in cases up and down. But for me, I think the former president did not even look at the root cause.
Okay, then what is the root cause?
The root cause boils down to, or goes to politicians.
Okay.
Yes, the politicians, unfortunately, they have access to public funds. And when they make this offer, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they make certain demands in the court of law, looking at the representation of these politicians at the court. The judges or justices, when they see this offer,
irresistible. But just recently, before even the 70,000, theirs was, I think, multiplied by, times 3.
Yes, 300%.
300% increment for
yes. But human beings, their needs are insatiable. So greed, I want to say, greed and the quest for
material acquisition.
Exactly, wanting more, they are unsatisfied. And they are not contented. They just feel that they need more to take care of unforeseen situations, and all that. And
I think a former Chief Justice of Nigeria once said that rather than having a corrupt judge, it's easier to manage a madman with knife running on the street.
Exactly.
The damage he can do is much, much less than compared to the damage that a corrupt judge does to the fabric of the society.
Exactly.
So then how do we get it right now? Is it to encourage politicians to play by the game, to stop corrupting the judges? But it takes two to tango, Doctor.
Are they interested in even... you see, this part of the world that we find ourselves, it's unfortunate that a lot is happening. There's no rule of law. Orders of court are not obeyed. A whole lot is wrong. And how do we get it right? It is by we, the citizens of the country, doing the right thing, having that certain virtue, integrity, patriotism, and all that. Integrity, just the way I've been saying, anywhere I find myself, is doing the right thing when nobody is watching you.
Yeah.
Do we have people like that? We do have politicians like that do certain things above their selfish interests, a whole lot. I think that former President Goodluck Jonathan knows the damage that the political elites have done to this country. They are the ones that are saddled with the responsibilities of amending our constitution. They are the ones that are saddled with the responsibilities of carrying oversight functions on our institutions of government. Now we have 3 arms of government.
Yeah.
We have the legislature, the executive, and the
judiciary.
Of course, you know that the political elite dominates 2 arms.
Yeah.
The legislature and the executive arm, right? And and these are the arms that have
the
access to the wherewithal of our resources. So they can maneuver things.
We hope they get it right. And finally, on the tidbits, Obi again, he said it's unthinkable.
Yes.
At this point in time, president and then the vice president all jetted out of the country. But I think it's a system, right? Don't they have the right to do that?
Yes.
Strategically, that's your area.
Yes. Yeah, they have the right to do that. I don't think they've breached the Constitution. Right now, I am made to understand that, or I'm aware that if the president is going out of the country, there's a certain number of days that he's supposed to be out that breaches the Constitution. And if he's going out of the country, if he's going to go beyond the stipulated number of days, he ought to transmit a letter of transmission of power to his vice president
through the national, by informing the National Assembly.
Exactly, but he didn't do that. He didn't do that because I think that he saw that he was going to stay within. You know, and if the country also has other international responsibilities outside the country, and is still within the ambit of the law, that the president hasn't breached the Constitution. For me, I don't think there's anything wrong with the vice president going as far as that to represent the country. You know, the presidency said there's no vacuum. But
in reality, do you think there is vacuum going by? You know, it was after he took his leave, and then the pump price. Before the commencement of this program, you told me you spent 50,000 there about
in 2 days.
In 2 days, yes. On moral ground, should the president and the vice president only?
But you know, you are aware that the vice president does not have any constitutional responsibility, except.
But even symbolically, maybe by seeing him around there, maybe
there will be hope.
There will be hope.
Some kind of hope.
Yes.
In the renewed hope.
Yeah.
But in the real sense of it, the vice president does not have any constitutional responsibility, except assignments delegated to him by the president, and which is one of the assignments that the president has given to him to go to Sweden, you know, to represent Nigeria in one function or the other. The president left this country on the 3rd of October. I think the Constitution said 14 days if he's out, right? So I think he's still within. Let us see what happens tomorrow.
All right. Dr. Steve. We have Dr. Kabiru Adamu of Beacon Consult here virtually. Doctor, welcome to the program.
I've been listening to your conversations on the. Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
And I think you should also chip in the two. You just put them together. The comment by, of course, Jonathan on judges corrupting the system. And then Obi saying that it's like Nigeria is on auto drive, considering that president on leave away from the country for over 2 weeks. Because I think some people have started knocking at the doors of the presidential villa, asking of the whereabouts, because he said 2 weeks. So what will you say on Jonathan's comment that judges are the roots of most of the problems we are facing?
So, I will try to restrict myself on the security implication of the development and then the security implication of the comment by the former president, because that's my forte. That's where I'm comfortable with. It's a reflection of the political fragility and instability that Nigeria has found itself. No doubt, after the elections, we all witnessed the series of court cases that were associated with the outcome of the elections. In fact, first associated with the primaries, then associated with the outcome of the elections, and then you recall a period when posters were erected saying all eyes on judges, and then we now saw how the federal government responded, bringing down those posters, attempting to arrest those that they felt were associated with that. So the reality is that the average Nigerian, including the politician, is quite uncomfortable with the position of judges. I know my co-discussant has mentioned and talked about the checks and balances that every democratic system comes with. Now, in most instances, the judiciary is the last resort and plays the greatest check on especially the executive. But where there is a perception, and I'm emphasizing this word, perception, that there is, the two are in cohort, they are in a very warm handshake, where perhaps there are exchanges of money, then it means the likely resort would not be to the judiciary, but to violence. And there is enough evidence at the moment in Nigeria to show that an increasing number of politicians who are aggrieved and certain citizens have resorted to violence. And the major reason is because they have no confidence in the judiciary. So that for me is the relevance of that statement by former President Jonathan. Now, the fact that he publicly made that statement given his profile and how very much respected he is by the single act of what he did in 2015, it also lends credence to the current perception by various Nigerians who feel that the judiciary need to do better. And I'm quite delighted that this current administration at one point convened a retreat, a gathering of the judiciary in an attempt to increase access to justice, to increase the delivery of justice itself. So I think the job of the current Chief Justice of the Federation is well cut out for her. And she has very little time really to restore that confidence that unfortunately has, like I said, has been almost belittled. And the earlier we restore that confidence, the more the likelihood that we will see less resort to violence to ease out. With regards to the statement by the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, that I think is an opposition speaking, but it also points, is an indicator of the fragility of the political system and how that too in itself could trigger violence. I hate to say what would happen right now if there is a crisis in the country, and the crisis could come from any one occurrence. What are we going to do as a country? So, like I said, it's really an indicator of the fragility of the state and the turmoil, the political turmoil that we found ourselves in.
All right, thank you. And I think I should throw the first question of the main topic of today, circulation of illicit weapons, and NSA accusing corrupt security agents for being behind this. That comment, did it come to you as a surprise, or you are fully aware that things like this are all over?
No surprise there, and for a lot of reasons. You remember very well late Aliquara and his several arrests, arrests actually, where he would arrest serving police officers and hand them over to the Nigerian police force over the allegation that they connived with criminals, in some instances rented out their weapons to criminals. I mean, there were so many documented instances when late Aliquara did that. Aside late Aliquara, there were instances, in fact, the one that we all know, which that was quite instrumental, is the report by the Auditor General of the Federation. I think it was about 2 years ago, when it released a report and alleged that weapons from the armory of the police that were supposed to be unserviceable weapons, or weapons that had developed faults and were no longer in usage, that were supposed to have been destroyed, were now in the hands of criminals. This was the government department making that report. This was under President Buhari. And then on my own, in my company, Beacon Security and Intelligence Limited, we were commissioned by a client, and we did check the sources of small and light weapons in Nigeria. And it was clear from our research, our investigation, that some of the sources were from the repository, the armory of our security forces, cutting across all the security forces in this instance. So frankly, I wasn't surprised. The only surprise perhaps was the fact that he made such a public statement, and the fact that the statement, of course, has serious implication for our national security, given that he's the national security advisor.
Okay, maybe he was frustrated. Dr. Steve, maybe you come in. You have had, yes, Dr. Kabiru Adamu. Yes. He gave 3 different instances of to verify, to validate what the NSA said. Now, why do you think security operatives are doing this? You have taken oath of office. Your responsibility is to protect the citizens, but then you're now a conspirator. Not you. I'm referring to the security operatives, taking some of these arms and then handing them over to non-state actors.
Yes.
What kind of, lack of patriotism could lead to this?
You see, when we have issues with proper background checks,
okay,
during a recruitment exercise, you end up having situations like this. I've seen situations where a criminal, a known armed robber in Kogi, for I think in the early 20s, managed to escape from Ayimba and got to wherever he got to, and he got enlisted into the police.
He got enlisted?
Yes. And after like
10... He changed his name and all that?
A whole lot is wrong. There are people that get enlisted into the police without using their real names. It happens. We saw a police officer in Lagos that was asking for a bribe in a vehicle that was videoed and was on the social media. At the end of the day, when the police went to investigate, they discovered that it wasn't his name that he used in enlisting into the police. When this guy in Kogi got back with a Mopo uniform and the rank of a corporal, so haven't done the damage in his community, and they didn't just hesitate. They had to carry out jungle justice on him. They killed him and burnt him. Now, the point I'm making is that when proper background checks are not done during recruitment exercise, you end up seeing situations like this. And in every institution, there are bad eggs, whether we like it or not. But the beauty about what is happening in Nigeria now is that the authorities, the head of the police, the military and all that, they are trying their best to see how to fish out these bad eggs that are found in their or amongst the institution or within the institution. You're aware that a soldier some couple of years ago killed a sheikh. A sheikh gave him a ride.
That was around Nguru in your State.
Exactly. The sheikh gave him a ride, right? The sheikh picked him from a military checkpoint.
Yes.
Yes. Along their way, and he said something, he was hearing a sound behind the car and all that, and the sheikh had to stop to check the sound, what was the sound.
And he took advantage.
And he took advantage. So we have them in the system, you know, and just the way I said, politics has dominated recruitment process. You see politicians send lists.
Yes, with signature.
With signature.
So nothing to be done. It's just to enlist.
It's just to enlist. And you discover that some of these names that are on their list don't even have passion for the job, right? And at the end of the day, when they get in there, they are now saddled with the constitutional responsibility of protecting lives, you know. At the end of the day, this is what they do. Over 2 decades, when I was doing my NYSC in Gombe, I recall a police inspector that was in charge of the armory in Gombe Police Command was giving out arms to armed robbers. They go rob, come give him his own share of the proceeds.
And they return the
arms. Yes.
Serious.
So the National Security Advisor is a retired senior police officer. So coming to the social media on the news and all that to say this is the situation, of course he should be aware, or I think he knows that this issue is not just new, you know. But I think just the way you said, I think he has
maybe overwhelmed and frustrated.
And he decided to let the cat out of the bag.
Okay, let's take it from Dr. Kabiru Adamu. Are there other factors? Some say, because I monitored the social media after the declarations. I was saying that, okay, what does the police or the civil defense or the military want this unscrupulous element to do? Because they don't even pay them. I mean, what they give them can't even take them to office for 1 week. Is that enough reason for somebody to now steal weapon from the armory, and then are they selling it? Are they renting it? I don't know whether you have found out something along this line, the economic situation vis-a-vis, you know, the obligation on them.
So, I mean, I would like us to look at it in a holistic manner. Okay. And what that means is there are factors that are internal to the various law enforcement agencies or security organizations. And then there are factors that are external to them. My co-discussant has mentioned some of the internal factors, the lack of investigation for new entrants, persons that will be employed. We call it pre-employment background check. It's either non-existent, or where they are doing it, it's faulty. And I mean, all the reasons that Dr. Stephen mentioned are reasons associated, most of them with background pre-employment background check. The second one is vetting. Even after the person has been employed, they usually, in most countries that know what they're doing, you vet government departments, staff of government departments. In fact, even private organizations do vet their staff. The process of vetting identifies red flags. And I'll give you an example of red flag. You are paid maybe 100,000 naira a month. And then during the vetting process, they found out that you've got 1 million naira. Now, it's fine. It's possible maybe, one of your parents died and willed 900,000 naira to you. But then you'll be invited and you'll be asked questions. And if you are not able to explain that question, that means further investigation will be conducted. And it puts you on your toes and it makes it very difficult for you to engage in corrupt practices. So that's number two. I don't think we're doing that. We're not doing, the pre-employment check is not very good, background check rather. And then the vetting process is also probably non-existent across most of the organizations. And then their welfare. I think this is documented, there is most of the security organizations, the lower you go, the cadre, the less you see their welfare being taken care of. And these are persons who are giving weapons, and sometimes they have access to, and these criminals too are able to incentivize them because the process of recruitment goes both ways. They would want to recruit the bad guys too would want to recruit them. It goes deeper than that. So welfare is another challenge. The fourth point is the equipment repositories itself. For anyone who has had the privilege of studying the armory of these organizations, the process of, first off, storing the weapons, then the release of the weapons to the operative, as well as the process of the operative returning the weapon to the armory. All of these are documented process. If I start from the weapon, first off, we're supposed to ensure that the markings, every weapon that has a marking. The bullet itself has a marking. So those processes in today's world have even moved from manual to, a technological process where you don't even need to write it down. All you need to do is run it through a machine, and then those markings are recorded. Every time you take the weapon out of that armory, it is also indicated in a log. And then, of course, when you return it, it's done that. How many armories do that at the moment? And then, of course, when you release the bullets, the usage of that. So all of these are some of the processes that are internal and that are non-existent that allow for the abuse. Then, of course, the external ones, the factors like the weak institutions that so the military, as an example, have the military police that would check their staff and make sure where there are deviations, they are arrested and then sometimes court-martial. Most of these organizations have that, but then how many of the organizations actually check that? So there are several factors, both internal and external, that unfortunately is allowed to that. But I think the elephant in the room is the absence of strong regulatory institutions and processes. You can trust somebody, but when you have in place a regulatory arrangement that controls the activities of that person, then even where he or she wants to be deviant, it becomes a little bit difficult. But where those processes are either missing or where they exist, they are not being implemented, then what we're seeing at the moment is the order of the day, unfortunately. And in that regard, I think the coordinating elements within the security system, they have a responsibility to strengthen those regulatory processes. I've listed some of them, and I think especially the National Assembly, in their oversight functions, they need to speak up. We talked earlier on about the checks and balances in a democratic system. Most of the organizations that we're discussing are in the executive arm of government. Now, where they failed in the manner that we're discussing, it is the responsibility of the legislative arm of government through the legislative process, especially the oversight function, to look at them and ensure that they correct all of these things. And we're not seeing that. So again, all arms are the issues are many. There are multitude, both internal and external.
All right, thank you. Yes, Dr. Okorie, I want us to take the contextualization of this to the barest level so that those watching us, maybe in my village, will understand the implication of what was done. I mean, yesterday, 2,400 illicit small arms and light weapons destroyed. When we were in primary school, we were told that somebody with one AK-47, he can subdue like 100 people if he has the requisite, the bullets and all that. So what kind of carnage do you think these weapons will have inflicted on the polity, assuming they are in the hands of these non-state actors? 2,400.
That's a very meager number.
Meager?
Yes, very meager.
I was actually scared.
No. Dr. Kabir Adamu has done research work on the number of small arms and light weapons in the hands of non-state actors. His organization.
Yes, maybe he will mention that by the time we get back to it.
We have over 6 million arms and small arms and light weapons in the hands of non-state actors.
So this is just a tip of the iceberg.
It's a very meager number.
But then a mileage to some extent.
It is. But you see, the damage that this has done, we have, for bandits, we have about estimated number of about 30,000 bandits that are troubling Nigeria at the moment.
30,000? About
30,000. Troubling Nigerians at the moment. And we have a whole lot of other criminal gangs.
Armed robbers and sundry criminals.
There are plenty of them, So just imagine this number of arms and ammunition at their disposal, A whole lot of Nigerians have been killed, raped, kidnapped, ransom collected by these criminal elements. The damage is far much compared to this meager number.
Maybe I've seen it as symbolic, in a way.
Now, the point is, it is sad that we have found ourselves in this situation. Just the way my brother there said,
yes.
We have different agencies, institutions of government that are saddled with different responsibilities to see that crime and criminal activities are curbed or combated. How far are they doing? We have our history, experience, and the current reality that is confronting us today. We're talking about system, weak institutions and all that. I don't believe that the institutions are weak.
You don't believe in that?
No. It is the operators of the institutions.
Okay, the institutions going by their enabling laws are really...
They're not weak. Okay. It is the operators of the system that are making it weak. And I think for me it's a deliberate thing. It is an intentional thing to make it weak,
So crime and criminality will continue?
Exactly. Because there are certain individuals that are feeding very fat from the incidents or insecurity issues that we are facing in this country. Budgets coming year in, year out. We expect that certain things are done. Every institution has its mandate clearly spelled out. The National Assembly, just the way I said, has started with the responsibility of carrying out oversight function. How effective are they carrying out those oversight functions, right? Politics, we have allowed politics to dominate the security sector. People that are not professionally fit to be in certain positions are either appointed, to occupy these offices. We saw in this country where there was a jailbreak or attack on our Kuje Correctional Center, and the immediate past Senate president was there, and he said on national TV that he was surprised and shocked that CCTV camera was not working in that.
And nothing happened. We didn't hear of any.
Nobody was sacked. No accountability. Panels were set up to investigate, and at the end of the day, what happened to the report? So we must be seeing that we are serious about fighting insecurity. We must see that political will is there. A lot of damage is done in this country. Thousands of Nigerians are displaced as a result of criminal activities because they have access to these arms and ammunition in circulation. At their will, they get it. We have seen where criminals were apprehended or arrested, and they confessed that they had their way at certain checkpoints because they had to bribe their way. So where is the patriotism? Where is the nationalistic features in our law enforcement agents that are saddled with the responsibility of protecting Nigerians and protecting our territorial boundaries? So a whole lot is wrong.
And we have to get it right.
How do we get it right?
All right, maybe Dr. Kabir Adamu, as part of his final thoughts, will tell us how to get it right. You have had from Dr. Okorie, saying it's actually a deliberate thing that we're having all this. Do you agree with him? And what can we do to get it right, Doctor? As your final thoughts?
Let me focus on what we can do to get it right. I think political will, accountability. You and I mean, there's a social contract. We let go of some level of our freedom and liberty and handed it over to government. And government now has the authority. So everyone in government whose mandate it is to provide public security. And at the last count, if you remove the anti-corruption agencies, there are about 29 of them. New ones have even been created in the last few months, including the Center for Small Arms and Light Weapons that is domiciled in the Office of the National Security Advisor. So in simple terms, these organizations need to start doing their work in a manner that shows clearly there is improvement. And so that brings me to the point of M&E, monitoring and evaluation. We need to strengthen monitoring and evaluation components within governance so that key performance indicators are made clear in a manner that you and I, either as journalists or as civil society organizations or researchers like myself, can see in a very transparent manner where we are and then where we would be in the next few months. Dr. Stephen did mention we did a research a couple of years ago that indicated how many weapons we have in circulation. We also know how many weapons are in the hands of our security agencies. Now, M&E, with clear performance indicators, would tell us that if we have 6.5 million small arms and light weapons in circulation as at today, that center should be able to come back to us in the next 12 months to say we brought down that number to 5,000. Then we'll clap for it. Right now, that is not being done. So it's that type of accountability with clear indicators. And earlier on, I spoke about the role of the National Assembly. They need to wake up in terms of the three major functions of every parliament. That is legislation, oversight, and then the budgeting component. If they wake up and strengthen oversight functions, all of these organizations that are in comatose, as it were, would also wake up. And where you have leadership that is not performing in those organizations, is either we show them the exit door, or in some instances, we even prosecute them. Because again, I go back to the social contract. We've let go certain freedom, certain privileges as Nigerians, and we've handed it over to them. And if they are not performing that, then they are complicit, and they left to me, they can be tried and prosecuted. If you look at the case of China, why China has progressed, it's because they took this seriously. If you are appointed and you abuse that office, then you are prosecuted. And I think we need to get to that point in Nigeria.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Kabiru Adamu of Beacon Consult, for coming to the program via Zoom and for your informed perspective on most of these issues. We want to bid you bye-bye and thank you for being with us. We hope to have you some other time.
Thank you very much for having me, and enjoy the weekend ahead.
All right. Bye-bye. Yes, now, viewers, it's your time. You can call in to contribute on what is the way forward. Dr. Kabiru Adamu said, let's go the China way. Dr. Steve will give us his own take on this, but you will also have the opportunity to tell us how to handle these small and light weapons that are being used by non-state actors. Call the telephone number that will be displayed on your screen, but please be precise, just offer solutions. We are waiting your calls. Yes, Dr. Steve. Yeah. Should we go the China way?
Yeah, I think to add to what Dr. Kabiru Adamu said, I still want to emphasize and re-emphasize on proper background check when new entrants get into our law enforcement agencies. I recall that there's this particular form that they usually take down to our clan heads.
Yes. And often they do that.
They do, but how
effective?
How effective, that is one. Then we're talking about vetting. It is a possibility or a likelihood that these forms did not even get down to. Exactly,
the way are forged. Okay, we have a first caller in the person of Shamaki. Shamaki is actually our regular caller. Oh, he's glued to his TV. Shamaki, welcome to the program.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good evening, Hamza Idris and Mr. Chief.
Thank you for joining us, yes.
Yeah, thank you once again. Yeah, let me begin with this. The former president, Goodluck Jonathan, came out and blamed judiciary or judges for turning cases upside down. Yes, he is right, and I concord with him because some judges allow to be employed to control by politicians in Nigeria. A case study of what happened between the former Senate President, Ahmed Lawan, and the other person, I forgot his name, during their senatorial assemblies. The other man won, but unfortunately, the Supreme Court went and gave the verdict to Ahmed. People not to mention, this is what is going on in the judiciary system by some judges because of money. Don't forget, court is a home for a common man. So Nigerian judiciary should go back and learn from other countries or to sanitize the whole system. Lastly, National Security Advisor are lamenting on how bandits got weapons from corrupt security men. Nigerians knew already that this thing cannot just go year in, year out. Banditry are hiding weapons that is more powerful than security. So you can begin to ask yourself, how comes? So if really government knew about this unfortunate act, they should bring the perpetrators to book without fear or trouble. Simple. So this is my take. Thank you for the outbreak.
All right, Shamaki, thank you very much. Shamaki is asking government to bring those behind this. They should mention names. I remember in our newspaper, we did a report, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, asking questions that, okay, yeah, customs, they have done a lot in intercepting, the inflow of these weapons. Yes, this is apart from those that were seeded by our security operators. But then the big question, who are the faces behind this? Yes, in customs, they say from 2018, 20 significant shipments comprising 10,498 pieces of various arms, and then 114,929 pieces of ammunition. This is huge.
Yes.
But who are the faces?
You see, it's very disappointing when we see news like this. And
you get disappointed.
Yes, and we are not seeing people standing trial.
Just the way we parade those who still got, who take a bag of rice.
Yes.
Because they are being paraded.
We saw in this country where a plane came from Turkey, landed in our airport in Lagos with arms. What happened? I didn't see anywhere where the ambassador of Turkey to Nigeria was summoned by the government to come and say, okay, come and answer questions. How will arms get into a plane that left Turkey to Nigeria? Until the customs saw those arms in the plane. And the plane was not impounded by the aviation ministry or something, right? So what are we saying? It goes to talk about, or goes to show about the political will that we've been asking for.
We should stop hiding the names.
Why should they hide names
of
criminals?
Dahiru from Abuja, who wants to contribute to the program. Welcome to the program, Dahiru. Hello? Yes, are you there, Dahiru?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, go ahead. Welcome to the program. What are your thoughts? Yes.
Yeah, I think, hello?
Yes, we are with you, Dahiru.
Okay. Hello?
Dahiru, go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, it's like maybe his connection. Yes, Dahiru, try and call again. Yes, I'm with you, yes, doctor. Okay. Now, about accountability and then also unraveling. It is easier to prosecute, some cases that have to do with maybe the downtrodden. Why are we finding it difficult? Are we going back to what Jonathan said, that deliberately some judges, or sometimes they say lack of diligent prosecution? These are some of the factors militating against passing judgments on time.
You see, it's unfortunate that this part of the world, a whole lot is wrong when it has to do with the prosecution of our cases in court. We expect that there should be a time frame within when these cases before the court are prosecuted for quick dispensation. As a result of that, it will serve as deterrent to potential criminals, people that want to go into crime. When they see that people that were involved in it have been punished as a result of going into such crime. Are we even seeing situations like that? That's the unfortunate thing. And a whole lot is wrong when you see even lawyers that are representing these criminals try to see how to bring technicalities into the issue and try to see how to prolong just because of some professional fees, you know. Meanwhile, we have seen in this country where lawyers stand in defense of kidnappers that are kidnapped for ransom, armed robbers that are killed in offer.
So where are we getting it wrong? Is it from their calling? Because we had cause to interview some lawyers.
Yes.
Even on this program, to say, why are you defending criminals? They say by their calling, they don't have any right not to defend
But we have seen lawyers that have turned down cases, that feel that, no, I cannot go and stand for such case.
So there are assumptions.
Why not?
So some are willing collaborators. Let me use this.
If you want to use the word, because as a lawyer, for instance, if I am a lawyer, for instance, and I've seen situations where armed robbers killed about 30 or more persons in an operation.
And you are asked to go and
I go to, why would I go and do that? When I know that tomorrow I can be a victim.
All right, we have another caller in the person of Mohammed Modibo from Gombe. Welcome to the program, Mohammed.
Thank you very much for having me on the program.
Yeah, we are pleased to have you.
My regard to the guests on the platform.
Yes, Dr. Okorie, yes.
Yeah, let me start by sympathizing with my fellow compatriots for, being in this mess. Circulation of illicit weapons. This has shown clearly and obviously that the fight against insurgency and banditry is not yielding the needed result. Many Nigerians were suspecting long before now that there are a lot of bad eggs in the security agencies who are conniving, colluding with these criminals, aiding and abetting them. And the National Security Advisor has confirmed that allegation that he braided the military and other sister security agencies for selling arms and ammunition to these good-for-nothing monsters who does not have iota of respect for human lives, who feels that they can do and undo. This war against insurgency must be fought with sincerity of purpose if we want to get out of the woods. We just have to do it holistically, and we should ensure that those who are making this a lucrative business unto themselves, making huge amount of money out of it, should be tracked down and dealt with accordingly in the most severe way provided by the Constitution. So we just have to do the needful for us to get out of this mess before it consumes all of us. That is my little take. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Modibo. Yeah, a good prescription, right, Doctor?
Very well.
I was shocked when Dr. From Beacon, Adekabiru Adamu mentioned 39 agencies, directly or indirectly. 29.
Yes.
Related to this spy. What is wrong? What is wrong?
It means that some certain agencies are failing in their responsibilities. That's just the point.
And do we need that number?
Yeah. That number has to do with any agency of government that has the responsibility of security and safety. We have road safety, we have MDLA,
civil defense, even in the airport.
Exactly.
Anyway, we're rounding up. We have less than 1 minute now. I want your final take on this to get out of this existential problem.
Now, to get
out
of it, one, we must have that integrity. Any Nigerian citizen that is found or is in a position of responsibility to see that small arms and light weapons don't go the way they are going into the hands of non-state actors. We have agencies of government that are saddled with the responsibility of seeing how to cope the situation.
So they must do that.
They must live up to their responsibility. That's one. Finally, there must be synergy amongst these 29 agencies, security agencies of government. If they don't work together, I think their goal is to see that Nigerians are protected,
the country is secure.
Because
it's key to any other development, economy, health.
Once that is taken care of, any other thing can be taken care of.
All right, thank you very much for coming to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Well, viewers, in the studio here is Dr. Stephen Okorie, who holds a PhD in security and strategic studies. And via Zoom, we have had Dr. Kabiru Adamu of Beacon Council. We also hosted, of course, Shamaki Dahiru Modibo via the telephone, and they contributed to the program. For those who tried to get us but could not, next week is another good time. We will come up with another interesting topic. We hope you found the conversation engaging and informative. And be sure to join Daily Politics, airing every weekday on our special package on Friday, during which we open the telephone line for you to comment on national issues, just as we did today. Remain blessed. See you next week for more interesting packages of Daily Politics. From here, I'm Hamza Idris. Bye-bye for now.